Okay.
Okay, just before we start, we've set up the water supply now. I've got my lad to turn the tap, so I think I've got enough water supply. If you hear that hissing away, probably even need a little bit less than that, but at least we're not going to underdo it. Now when we're cutting, I'm going to just tell you this. What I try and do is, if I do a straight cut, and I would use the slat in the pallet if I was doing it, but just to show you, I try and angle the saw blade at that sort of angle, because when we grout, it helps key the grout in. If you have it straight or angle it the other way, the grout's ready to pop up. So that's just a little thing I thought would be a good idea. Just to almost straight cuts or any cuts, just angle slightly so the grout is held nicely and less tempted to pop up at a later date. Alright, and I'm just going to show you how I do that scribe cut. Make sure you don't stand on your hose, and make sure that I run it between my legs like that. And I mean, the saws are really heavy, they're 14-15 kilos, and if you're cutting all day it's a lot of work. So I tend to brace my elbows on my knees, get a nice stance like that, and I just do, that would be my scribe cut, something like that. Like I say, just try and do it in a nice even flow like that, just to get that scribe done. And when your knees can come into play to support your arm, then use them, squat down a bit, and away it goes like that. Okay, it's going to be quite a difficult cut. The external one's much more straightforward, it's the internal ones that are difficult. Alright, so I'm going to get geared up now, and we'll run up the saw and try and hopefully show you how it's done. Okay, we're about ready to cut. I've clamped it, I've used the backstop, clamped it. This is the bit we're going to cut out. I might have to adjust it as we get near, because I can see it's quite near the edge of the pallet, but the pallet's cheap. Found a nice little stand, because otherwise the blade tends to rub in. Saw's a pig, so I've had to start it up. Once it's warm it's fine, but it takes ages to warm up. I have no idea why. Choke works, but hey ho, that's the way it is. Alright, so we're ready to start doing that scribe cut as I described. It's going to be quite difficult for me, but I'll do my best, and we'll go from there. I turn the water on. There we are. Now do the scribe cut. Try one nice flowing motion. Okay, so I'll just try to set that in a nice flow of motion. See, my trench is nice and full of water, so the blades are going to be cool and last much longer. But now we can ignore all the pen marks, because we've got a scribe cut. It also tends to be even better than the pen mark. So now what we got to do is remove the meat of that, remove all the waste out of that, which with a 300mm blade, to try and remove the meat out of a curve like that, has to be done in sections. And you work your side cut as a guide, but what I have been doing is doing cuts like that, and just taking out the main meat of the cut by doing that. So we'll have a go at that, and talk about when we get close to the scribe line to finish off. Okay. You might Don't forget to turn the water off, otherwise you're swamped. Okay, we've got rid of the worst of the meat now, and we're just going to work much closer to the scribe line, making sure that we don't go over it to get that nice finish. I'm also going to work to try and get that undercut that I talked about. As I get close to the line, I use what I call the back cut. I don't go forward because it tends to dig in. I sweep using the back cut to tidy up the last bit. And hopefully we'll have a nice cut. Okay, ready? Okay, so there's the worst of the meat now. Trial and error. Now this is where I'm going to just show that back cut method, just to tidy up, get a nice smooth line, just to finish off. Alright, don't be tempted to go forward with the blade because you can dig in. Don't forget, the deeper you go with the blade, the more you've got to accommodate greater length. So try and use the end of the blade. You're only accommodating that, which is going to be less likely to damage your cut. Off we go. Okay, so that's hard work, but you do a few of these, you can see we'll roughly get, you know, you can trim it up and tune it up as much as you like. Just smooth it with the back cut. Try and keep the revs nice and level if you can on the saw, and you'll get there. And I think that's some sort of demonstration on internal cuts on limestone. I'm sure health and safety people would have a big problem with it, but we're all self-taught here, so good luck.